The New Rules of Marketing and PR by David Meerman Scott. Introduction. Imagine this. You're scrolling through your social media feed, just passing the time, when a friend shares a photo. It's a picture of a glass igloo, nestled in a snowy landscape, with the green and purple lights of the aurora borealis dancing in the sky above. You click the link. You find yourself on the website of a hotel in the farthest reaches of northern Finland, a place you had never heard of just moments before. You see, you can go on a husky sledding safari. And before you know it, you're not just dreaming about it, you're booking a trip to a place above the Arctic Circle in the dead of winter. This exact story happened to the author of the book we're exploring today, David Meerman Scott. And it perfectly captures a revolution that has quietly changed the world. How does a tiny remote hotel in Finland reach someone halfway across the globe without spending a single dollar on a splashy magazine ad or a TV commercial? The answer to that question is the heart of the New Rules of Marketing and PR. This isn't just another business book. Since it was first released, it has sold over 300,000 copies in more than 25 languages, becoming a guide for a new generation of thinkers, creators, and entrepreneurs. David Meerman Scott himself wasn't some guru sitting in an ivory tower. He was a vice president of marketing, spending millions on the old ways of doing things, glossy brochures, expensive trade shows, and ads that nobody seemed to pay attention to. He saw firsthand that the game had changed, that the old rules were broken. So, he started breaking them. He began writing, sharing ideas, and creating valuable information online, and discovered a powerful truth. The internet didn't just give businesses a new place to advertise, it gave them a voice. It gave them the ability to speak directly to the people who needed to hear from them. In our journey together today, we're going to uncover these new rules. You'll learn why thinking like a television advertiser will hold you back, but thinking like a publisher will set you free. By the end of our time, you'll understand the powerful, simple secret that allows anyone, a small business, a nonprofit, an artist, or even a student looking for a dream job, to capture attention, build a loyal following, and share their ideas with the world. Book summary. For most of history, if you had an idea, a product, or a story to share, you had only three options. First, you could buy attention through expensive advertising. Think of the car commercials you see on TV, flashy, loud, and incredibly costly. Second, you could beg for attention from the media, hoping a journalist would find your story interesting enough to write about. Or third, you could hire a massive sales team to knock on doors and interrupt people one by one. This was the world of the old rules. It was a world built on interruption. The goal was to jolt you out of what you were doing, watching a show, reading a magazine, and force you to pay attention to a one-way message. It was a monologue, not a conversation. Let's go back to that car commercial. The author, David, shares a story about his own frustrating experience trying to buy a car. When he went to the websites of major automakers, he wasn't looking for a TV ad. He was looking for information. He wanted to learn something. Instead, he was bombarded with slogans like 100-hour sales event and Big Finish 2012. The websites assumed he was ready to buy right now, but he was just exploring. They were shouting at him, not helping him. Where did he find the real, helpful information? Not on the car company's sites, but in online forums, where actual owners were sharing their real experiences, posting photos, and having authentic conversations. This experience reveals the fundamental crack in the old foundation. The world changed. Around 1995, with the birth of the first popular web browsers, we entered the single most important communication revolution in human history, even bigger than the invention of the printing press. Suddenly, the power shifted. The web wasn't just another channel for one-way advertising. It was a place for connection, for information, and for direct communication. This is where the new rules are born. The central idea, the one that changes everything, is this: you must stop thinking like an advertiser and start thinking like a publisher. What does that mean, to think like a publisher? A publisher's job isn't to brag about a product. Their job is to create content that an audience is eager to consume. They focus on the audience's problems, their interests, and their needs. They create value first. The sale comes later, as a natural result of building trust and authority. Let's look at a brilliant example. The lodge at Chaw Creek is a beautiful eco-resort in Belize. Now, they could have a website like every other hotel, with glossy photos of their rooms and a big Book Now button. But they don't. Instead, their website and blog are among the best resources for anyone planning a trip to Belize. They have articles about ancient Mayan temples, guides to local wildlife, and tips for planning the perfect honeymoon. They even have content about attractions in neighboring Guatemala. Think about what's happening here. Someone goes to Google and searches birdwatching in Belize. They land on a helpful article on the Chaw Creek blog. They learn something valuable. They start to see Chaw Creek not as a hotel trying to sell them a room, but as a trusted expert on travel in Belize. So, when it comes time to decide where to stay, who do you think is at the top of their list? This strategy, thinking like a publisher, is so effective that it generates a remarkable 80% of the lodge's new business. This principle works for any industry, no matter how boring it might seem. Take concrete, for example. The Concrete Network is a company that connects homeowners with concrete contractors. How do they market themselves? By becoming the most valuable source of information about residential concrete on the internet. They publish a constant stream of helpful articles, photo galleries, and news releases with headlines like concrete furniture, no April Fools with concrete tables, benches, bookcases, and even chairs. They're not just selling a service, they are educating the marketplace. And as a result, their website gets 10 times more traffic than any other site in their industry. As their president, Jim Peterson, says, if content sells concrete, content can sell what you have to offer too. But to create content that truly connects, you can't just talk to a faceless crowd. You have to know exactly who you're talking to. This is where the powerful tool of buyer personas comes in. A buyer persona is a detailed profile of a target customer. It's not just about demographics like age or location, it's about understanding their goals, their challenges, and their mindset. For example, a college website has several different buyers. There's the high school student, who wants to know about campus life and academics. There are the parents, who are worried about costs and safety. And there are the alumni, who the college hopes will donate money. A great website understands that these are different people with different needs, and it creates specific content for each of them. Mike Peterson is a master of this. He's a golf fitness expert whose business is almost entirely online. He could try to appeal to every golfer in the world, but he doesn't. He has a laser-focused buyer persona, the 60-year-old male golfer whose body is starting to fail him, who is frustrated that he can't play the game he loves like he used to. Every piece of content he creates, every free article, every tip, every email, is written directly to that person, addressing his specific pains and frustrations. He offers hundreds of free articles with titles like "Golf Muscles Need to Be Strong and Flexible." At the bottom of each one, he provides a clear path to his paid products, but the value comes first. By getting inside his customers' minds, he has built a thriving business. Once you understand who your audience is and what they need, the next step is to go where they are. And today, they are gathered at the world's biggest cocktail party, social media. David Meerman Scott uses this wonderful analogy to explain how to behave online. Think about how you act at a real party. Do you walk in and immediately start shouting at everyone to buy what you're selling? Of course not. You listen. You have interesting conversations. You are helpful. You build relationships. You give more than you get. The exact same rules apply to social media. It's a place to connect as a human being, not as a walking advertisement. Consider the first ever Singapore tattoo show. They were starting from scratch, with no past attendees to market to. Instead of buying expensive ads, the organizer, Andrew Peters, did something brilliant. 3 months before the show, he created a Facebook group called Tattoo Artistry. It wasn't named after the event, it was named after the passion that the audience shared. The group exploded. It became a vibrant community where people shared their art, connected with each other, and got excited about the upcoming event. The goal for the show was 5,000 attendees. Because they built a community first, over 15,000 people showed up. They didn't market an event, they hosted a party, and everyone wanted to come. This new world of direct connection has even changed something as traditional as finding a job. The old way involved perfecting a resume and networking, interrupting your contacts to ask for help. The new rules are different. They're about showcasing your expertise and letting employers find you. The key is to remember that online, you are what you publish. Lindsay Kirchhoff was a senior in college when she started a blog called How to Market to Me. On it, she shared her insightful opinions on how companies could better reach young consumers like herself. She wasn't just telling potential employers she understood marketing, she was showing them, every single day, with the valuable content she created. Soon, her blog and her active presence on social media caught the attention of a marketing software company called HubSpot. They were so impressed with her demonstrated knowledge that they hired her right after graduation. She didn't find a job by sending out resumes, she created a job opportunity by publishing her ideas. Of course, with this new power of direct communication comes new responsibility. Your audience isn't just listening to you, they're talking about you, with or without your permission. And you need to be listening. Nowhere is this more apparent than in online forums and communities. These are the digital gathering places for your most passionate customers and critics. Ignoring them is one of the biggest mistakes an organization can make. Let's look at 2 stories that show the right way and the wrong way to handle this. First, the wrong way. A number of years ago, it was discovered that music CDs from Sony BMG were secretly installing a type of software called a rootkit on people's computers, which created major security vulnerabilities. A security expert named Mark Rusinovich discovered this and wrote a detailed post about it on his blog. The story exploded. Hundreds of other blogs picked it up, and online forums were furious. People felt betrayed. And where was Sony? They were silent. For 5 critical days, they said nothing in the online communities where the fire was raging. Their silence was seen as arrogance, and it made the crisis infinitely worse, eventually leading to lawsuits and a massive product recall. Now, let's look at the right way. Bond Photo Video is a large camera retailer, beloved by professional photographers. When a hot new Nikon camera was released, demand was huge, and Bond accidentally took orders for cameras they didn't have in stock, then had to cancel them. Customers were angry and took to the photography forums to complain, accusing the company of being dishonest. The situation could have easily spiraled into a PR disaster. But it didn't. Why? Because a Bond employee named Henry Posner was an active, respected member of those very forums. He jumped into the conversation almost immediately. He didn't make excuses. He wrote, "We regret and apologize for having vexed you." He explained what happened, acknowledged their frustration, and promised to make it right. With that one, honest, human post, the entire tone of the conversation changed. Anger turned into respect. One person wrote, "Henry's participation in various web forums is something I respect greatly. I can't think of someone of power with any other business who engages in public discussion. Bond didn't just solve a problem, they deepened their relationship with their most important customers. They showed up to the party. The tools we have to publish our ideas are incredibly diverse. We've talked about blogs, social networks, and forums. But the new rules also apply to things like online video and even the humble press release. Online video offers a way to tell stories with emotion. But you don't need a Hollywood budget. The classic example is a blender company called Blendtec. They created a series of low-budget videos called Will It Blend?, where they would stick everything from iPhones to golf balls into their blenders to see if they would pulverize them. The videos were fun, quirky, and went wildly viral, turning a little-known blender company into an internet sensation. Perhaps the most legendary example of viral marketing was a campaign from Tourism Queensland called The Best Job in the World. They created a video contest to find someone to be the caretaker of a beautiful island on the Great Barrier Reef for 6 months, with a salary of 150,000 Australian dollars. The contest required applicants to submit a 1-minute video explaining why they were the best person for the job. Over 30,000 people applied, and their videos were seen by millions. The campaign generated an unbelievable amount of free media attention, showcasing Queensland as a tourist destination to a global audience. They created an experience so interesting that people couldn't help but talk about it and share it. Even the press release, once a stuffy document written exclusively for journalists, has been transformed. Under the new rules, a press release is no longer a release to the press, it's a release of news directly to your buyers. The company WebEx mastered this by writing news releases filled with the keywords and phrases that their potential customers were actually searching for. In fact, the author himself discovered WebEx when he was searching for the phrase "accelerate sales cycle," and their news release was the top result on Google. They weren't waiting for a journalist to tell their story. They were telling it themselves, and in doing so, they ensured that the right people found them at the exact moment they were looking for a solution. This leads to the final, and perhaps most crucial, idea. The world now operates in real time. In the past, marketing campaigns were planned months in advance. A crisis might take days to respond to. But the internet has compressed time. News breaks in minutes, not days, and opportunities appear and disappear in an instant. Speed and agility have become the new competitive advantages. When the software giant Oracle quietly acquired a small competitor called Market2 Lead, the announcement was buried deep on their website. Joe Payne, the CEO of a rival company called Eloqua, happened to see it. He realized that for a brief moment, he was one of the few people in the world who knew about this major industry news. He didn't wait. He didn't call a meeting. He immediately wrote a blog post offering his expert analysis of what the acquisition meant for the market. What happened next was astounding. Reporters, analysts, and bloggers who were scrambling to understand the story found Joe's post. Suddenly, he was the go-to expert, being quoted in major business publications. But he didn't stop there. His sales team immediately emailed customers of the company that had just been acquired, linking to the blog post. In many cases, they were the ones breaking the news to them. They offered a money-back guarantee to any of those customers who wanted to switch. This real-time action, seizing an opportunity in the moment, generated over $1 million in new business in just a few weeks. From a hotel in the Arctic Circle to a concrete company, from a job seeker to a CEO reacting in real time, the message is the same. The old world of marketing and PR is over. The new world isn't about the size of your budget. It's about the size of your ideas. It's not about interrupting people, it's about connecting with them. It's about creating something so interesting, so helpful, and so authentic that people can't help but listen, and can't wait to share. The web has given everyone a platform and a voice. The new rules show us how to use them. Commentary. As we step back and look at the landscape David Meerman Scott has painted for us, it becomes clear that the new rules of marketing and PR is about something much deeper than just business tactics. It's about a fundamental shift in the way we communicate, connect, and build trust as human beings. The most powerful lesson in this book, to me, isn't about using Twitter or starting a blog. It's about the spirit behind those actions. The old rules were rooted in a psychology of scarcity and control. Attention was a scarce resource that had to be bought or begged for. Messages had to be tightly controlled and polished to perfection. The new rules, on the other hand, are rooted in a psychology of abundance and generosity. Think about it. The most successful examples in this book? The lodge that becomes a travel guide, the golf expert who gives away his best advice for free, the camera store that apologizes publicly, all operate from a place of giving value first. They lead with helpfulness. They understand that in a world overflowing with information, the way to earn attention is not to shout louder, but to become the most trusted and generous voice in the room. This isn't just a marketing strategy, it's a philosophy for building relationships. It's the simple, timeless idea that people want to connect with, learn from, and do business with other people they know, like, and trust. So, how can you start applying these powerful ideas in your own life, right now? Here are 3 simple actions you can take today. First, become a listener. Pick one online space where people who share your interests are gathering. It could be a forum about a video game you love, a subreddit about a career you're curious about, or a group of creators you admire. For 1 week, your only job is to read and listen. Don't comment, don't post, just observe. What are their biggest questions? What are they excited about? What are their frustrations? This simple act of listening is the first and most important step in understanding any audience. Second, publish one thing. You don't need to launch a full-blown blog or a YouTube channel. Just create and share one single piece of content designed to be helpful. It could be a short post answering a common question you saw while you were listening. It could be a photo guide teaching a simple skill you have. The goal isn't to go viral or sell anything. The goal is to experience the shift from being a consumer of information to a creator of value. See how it feels to give your knowledge away? And third, do a digital audit. Go to Google right now and search for your own name. What do you see? This is your digital first impression. It's what a college admissions officer, a future employer, or a new friend will see. Remember the rule: you are what you publish. If you don't like the story your search results tell, you have the power to change it. By creating, sharing, and participating online in a thoughtful way, you can begin to shape your own narrative. In the end, the promise of this book isn't just for big companies with marketing departments. It's for the individual. It's for the student with a unique perspective, the artist with a vision, the activist with a cause. The internet has leveled the playing field and handed each of us a microphone. The old gatekeepers are gone. The question that David Meerman Scott's work leaves us with is a simple but profound one: what will you do with yours? That was a deep dive into the new rules of marketing and PR by David Meerman Scott. We've covered the core principles today, but I truly believe a summary is just a signpost, pointing you toward a destination. The real journey happens when you walk the path yourself. The book is filled with dozens more stories and practical, step-by-step guides that we couldn't possibly cover here. If any of the ideas we've discussed today sparked something in you, a curiosity, an inspiration, a new way of seeing things, I encourage you to pick up a copy. Reading it isn't just about learning marketing, it's about understanding the new language of connection in our digital world. The link to the book is in the description below. Also, if you found this summary valuable, please take a moment to click the like button and subscribe to the channel. It lets us know we're on the right track and ensures you won't miss our next exploration into another life-changing book from the billionaire's bookshelf. Let's keep learning and growing together.